Thank you for coming to the YouTube channel and thank you for supporting this channel. I hope that things are going great for you, the audience. I know that the system of capitalism is continuing to show us in its many examples of just how unstable it is. I mean, I know you see the headlines every day of the major companies which are doing massive layoffs. That is not anything new. I mean, that's kind of why tend to shy away from reporting on everyday news and to take it to another level because yes, we know that to be a reality. We know that with capitalism it works on supply and demand all the time. It there's an uneven flow. The program is uneven to begin with, so of course the results may be chaotic, and that's what we see every day. It's people fighting for higher wages, the small businesses saying that they cannot do this, the big businesses, they are able to some capacity, but instead they would rather pay their upper level management while they're sucking at the energies of lower level management and of course the working class who sits at the lower part of the organizational chart. So again, these are norms under the system of capitalism. So I don't tend to take that angle of dialogue because it's cliche. It's not. It's at this point. It's like it puzzles me that everyone wants to take the same angle of these issues like all the time, and it's saturated. Like for me, with my sensory overload problem, I cannot watch the news. I cannot hear the same theme all the time. Like it has to be a different angle. So that's why I do this. That's why my angle is different, is because I already know that the stories which are out there, they have a saturated problem. So thank you for coming on, and it's I've been writing a book about social responsibility, so I kind of been away from putting videos up and kind of just focusing on this channel and so forth. But I definitely continue to be passionate about analyzing the system of capitalism. I continue to be avid about how it is impacting our lives in such a negative way and with such harsh consequences to our betterment, that I will continue to upload and make videos as often as I possibly can to help others to look at it differently, to look at the system of capitalism in its true form and not with perception. A lot of people tend to we perceive things differently, we conceptualize differently, but in dialogue we can understand different perspectives and subsequently make decisions about what is happening to all of us. So today, I kind of want to talk about poverty as a mindset, and I'm bringing this forward because I was watching a documentary recently, and this young man, I think he was around 24, 25, and he had wealth. You could see that he had, like, a very Porsche house. He had, like, multiple cars, and he was saying that poverty is a mindset. It is as if he was saying that everybody who's poor and everyone who's suffering woke up at some point in their lives and decided that they were going to stick to poverty, that they were going to take on 2 jobs or 3 jobs, and that they would not have enough money for traveling or all of the dreams that are in our heads and we would like to accomplish. This is the angle of this young man, and we've heard it before. He wasn't saying anything that was foreign or anything that I had not heard, but it was in a documentary where he was not the only one being featured, where there were other people who were detailing their struggle of not being able to find employment, the family the family attachment of that. And the cameras, of course, were capturing their struggles. So in a documentary, with he being one of multiple people to express the instability of capitalism, of course it presented a different it was presented through different lens. And his idea or his conclusion was paradoxical to what the other people in the documentary were experiencing. Of course, he had wealth, he had generated wealth, whereas you had more people aiming for wealth and not even being able to secure a job, which is for many of us the first step toward wealth. So this is a reality that is unfolding in everyday life, where we have a few people who are rising. And more power to those people. They rise economically, and you have a whole lot more. So the reason why we continuously have these issues is because we have a few at the top, and we have a whole lot more sitting in instability. They don't have job security. We don't have a wage that is equitable, that allows us to have disposable income. And there's the fight, of course, for that. So it is not a mindset. Poverty is not a mindset. It is an association to a system called capitalism. They are not separated. In Western civilization, we have this very unhealthy way at looking at situations, where we tend to detach from structures and from history, because we've been, I believe that we've been taught that way. Detachment seems to be the theme of Western civilization, and you have to detach yourself to accomplish what Western civilization wants you to accomplish. So for capitalism, for you to be rich, you may have to detach yourself from quote unquote toxic people. So your culture, all of a sudden they're toxic. And of course, there are some situations which are toxic to someone's mental capacity, and I understand that. But it isn't everything. Everything is not toxic. Everyone is not toxic. We are victims of circumstances, and we're trying our best to be functional, to be healthy. So you cannot label everything toxic and think that you have to separate yourself. You may have to just learn to adapt, learn to understand that there's another structure in place. So culture is a structure too, in the same way capitalism is a structure. How is this culture defined? How, in the same way, is as how is capitalism defined? And we have to, that's why I'm always encouraging you to be in a constant state of examination, of analysis, because life is going to require you to be in that mindset, so that you can truly understand the world around you. You can truly understand the people whom you will come in contact with in work, at play, in the clubs, wherever. You have to understand the program, the structure of the program, so that when you are live, in reality, you are not a brute or a tyrant. You are aiming to understand, and you are working to be the best human being you can possibly be. So yes, we have different mindsets about geopolitical and socioeconomic ideas, but it's important for us to know what these systems are. We have to know these systems through hard evidence, through the histories. How, again, what is their protocol? Because they all have protocols, right? And the world that we're living in is what it is because you have programs, protocol, procedures, and that's what we are living in now. That's what we've been living in for a long time. So there's no separation of anything. Like we have to stop separating stuff and start to see things in connectivity so that we can become better. But poverty is not a mindset. Poverty is real. It is dehumanizing. That's why you have people who are against capitalism, because they have made that connection, poverty to capitalism, and they have said we don't like this system. That's why you have socialism and communism as alternatives. Those people have said we don't like this venture capitalism. It is not beneficial to us, and they find themselves wanting something different. Okay, so it is not, no way, nobody is waking up and saying I want to be poor today or I choose to be poor. It has never happened. It is, you have been driven into it by a force. Everything operates with a force, right? With power, energy. That's another part of the world. We are manifestations of our cultures, of our family upbringings, our you know communities. So there is no individual per se. Just as there is no separation of thought, there are thoughts, and they're connected to a model. Capitalism is a model. So to hear this young man in this documentary say, well, you make the decision to be poor, it was very ignorant of him. It shows his lack of understanding of systems and people and their impacts in our lives. And I hope that you are not that person who is like this young man, that you are knowledgeable, or you at least attempting to understand why are things this way. Like why is this world so chaotic? Why is it so militaristic? Why is it so why are there so many civil wars? You have to ask yourself those questions, because they are just, I mean, they're so consistent. They're part of our daily lives. So where's this coming from? Though civil wars have history, so we have to exit the mentality that the blaming mentality, blame the individual, which is something again we do in Western civilization. We cannot blame people for being poor. We cannot be harsh to people who are poor, who are facing income inequality, or desensitize ourselves to those situations. We have to see ourselves as being one group of people under an economic system that is not favorable to us at all, to any family, but we're just forced into believing that that it is viable because it's been around for so long. People have adapted to its ways. But should we be adapting, or should we be assessing? So, again, I'm putting that in your hands so that you can think deeper into it, so that I know you can conceptualize things. So it just requires you to think deeper, to focus on binding things, so that you get a better version of the issue and of the story. Thank you once again. I hope you'll visit my website, changingali.com. There are different articles. I don't just focus on capitalism. Again, I take on different issues. So thank you. And, I hope you'll drop in again.